let's talk about what Florida is doing in regard to property taxes, or they're trying to do in regard to property taxes, and messaging. Right? Because what Ron DeSantis is doing in Florida in regard to property tax relief is what Donald Trump did at the federal level in regard to tax on tips, tax on overtime, tax on Social Security. Right? So Donald Trump said, we did away with your taxes on tips. We did away with your taxes on overtime. But they didn't. You can deduct a certain portion of your taxes and overtime if you meet certain qualifying benchmarks at the end of the year. But everything's still getting taxed. And Ron DeSantis is sort of playing the same game in Florida. He's telling you that if he gets what he wants, your home is going to be, in his words, tax-free. That's not true. You're going to pay less in taxes, but you're not going to have a tax-free home.
Voters will be able to vote on this November, and the primary purpose of that is to make your homestead property tax-free, and that will be historic.
Okay, let me explain this in the simplest way possible. Governor DeSantis is proposing a major property tax break for Florida homeowners. Right now, if your home is your primary residence, Florida gives you a homestead exemption of up to $50,000. Think of it like this. Let's say your home is worth $500,000. Today, Florida says, we're going to ignore that first $50,000 when calculating certain property taxes. So instead of calculating those taxes on $500,000, they're calculated on about $450,000. Under the new proposal, that exemption would increase to $150,000 in 2027 and $250,000 in 2028. Using that same $500,000 home, in 2027, taxes would be calculated on about $350,000. And in 2028, taxes would be calculated on about $250,000. That's a pretty significant difference. Now, before everyone gets excited, this does not eliminate property taxes. The school portion of your tax bill would still remain the same. This applies to many of the county, city, and local portions of your property taxes. Here's the part that caught my attention. Under the current proposal, homeowners who establish Florida residency and homestead their property by December 31st of 2026 could potentially receive these enhanced benefits sooner. Those who establish residency after that date may have to wait years before receiving the full benefit. The proposal still has to be approved by voters in November of 2026, so nothing is guaranteed and details could change. I just found it interesting that while everyone's focused on interest rates, there may be another piece of the puzzle that could impact the long-term cost of owning a home in Florida.
Messaging is everything. And when Ron DeSantis stands out there and says, this is going to make your home tax-free, people need to understand before they vote on it that that's not necessarily going to happen. I'm not saying that they shouldn't vote on it. I'm not saying it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. I'm saying the messaging is misleading. It's false. And what I'd like to know is how many services get cut as a result of no longer bringing in that property tax money. Because that's another factor. You save on property taxes, but now you don't have the services that those taxes provided. That might be a deal breaker.